I had a history of benign conditions of the breast. I had cysts in my right breast since I was about 16 years old. So when a new mass surfaced, I really wasn't that concerned about it. But this one hurt, and the cyst in the past didn't. So I was 26 years old, and my breast was hurting badly where this mass was, and I couldn't move this mass around. I couldn't take it with my fingers and move it around. It was fixed to my chest wall, which I knew by research that was not a good thing. um, Most benign conditions of the breast are palpable, meaning you can move them around and kind of push them between the tissue of the breast. This one was not. So what did I do? I waited because I think deep down I knew what it was. I waited about a month. Finally went to the breast surgeon, and he said, "I'm sure it's nothing. You're too young for breast cancer, right?" That's another myth we need to dispel. Um, and sent me for an ultrasound. The ultrasound tech, I could tell, was not happy about what she was seeing, so she sent me in for a mammogram. And when I had the mammogram done, the um, the radiologist showed me the scan right away and said, "Okay, here's the mass." And I said, "Okay, there's my fibroid, adenoma." He said, "That's not an adenoma," and he showed me the angiogenesis going into the tumor. So I knew right then and there. And this was Christmas Eve 2009. I knew that there was something nefarious about this. So um, came back suspicious, of course, and they recommended that we take it out. So we took it out on New Year's Eve 2009, and it came back 5 days later as invasive ductal carcinoma, which is invasive breast cancer. It had only spread to one lymph node in a micromet status, so we're talking a really tiny amount of cancer. Um, but because I was 26 years old, you're going to want to, slash and burn, get as much treatment as you can to keep it from coming back later. So we did the double mastectomy first. That took about 3 weeks to heal from that, and then we went into a dense dose chemotherapy, which is adriamycin, Cytoxan, and that I've never been so sick in my life. I was in bed for 17 hours. I remember the first time I had treatment. It exhausted me, and it comes out in a big syringe that has a biohazard symbol on it. So if it touches your skin, it actually will burn a hole in your skin. And you're putting this into my heart, this chemotherapy. It seemed a little odd to me. um, so I did 8 weeks of that, and then I did 12 weeks of a different chemotherapy called Taxol, and was declared cancer free, which is not something we need to be using because a scan cannot detect a single cancer cell. So cancer free needs to get out of the jargon as well. I lived a great life for 5 years. I didn't think about cancer anymore. I put it in the rearview mirror until my arm went numb on the right side and I couldn't feel it anymore. Um, that led to the discovery of a 3 centimeter, which is about the size of a small lime, tumor in my armpit, all from breast cancer. It had been growing ever since. That little micrometastatic lesion in my lymph node continued to grow over that next 5 year period, and unbeknownst to me. So we did chemotherapy again. We did a lot of radiation, and we did more surgery to remove the lesion. So that was 3C, stage 3C, which is just before becoming metastatic. And I still felt like I caught it in the act of spreading. About 9 months later, I developed a cough and went in just to get a chest scan to make sure everything was okay. And surprised to learn that I didn't have lung lesions. I had lesions in my bones. Nearly every bone in my body was covered with breast cancer lesions. So that was 2014. That put me at stage 4, incurable. But the first medicine I was given, I responded to completely. And I have been doing really, really well ever since then. So that's not lost on me. I'm still terminal. I'm still going to die from this one day, but the goal is to keep me alive as long as possible with a good quality of life. And that's the work we're trying to do with stage 4 research.